So today I had my friend Brooksie back on the podcast. And just like last time, Brooksie and I can get a bit passionate. I apologise if we're over talking each other a little bit. And it's one of the longer podcasts. But we're talking about mental health and some of the things that we're both noticing going on in the world right now in terms of people feeling isolated. We would love your feedback. We would love your comments. But most of all, we'd love it if you were here with us tomorrow still. I hope you can listen to the podcast and enjoy it for what it is. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the David Watson podcast for a second time.
Yes, Dave. Got me up on a Sunday morning nice and early. Well, not that my daughter doesn't. But...
Well, to be fair, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't get him up nice and early. It was supposed to be 10:30, but like a diva, he contacted me and said, I've actually made plans to do something else. Can we do it at 9? Because Brooksie's a diva.
I am a diva and I love
it. I'm just going to quickly check. Yeah, we are recording. It's all good. I get just...
Good to know.
I had this...
to check now and in an hour.
I keep flicking backwards and forwards because I keep seeing something come up on my screen. I'm like, is that cancer? I just have to live with it. And hopefully it's all good. So, yeah. What are your plans anyway that I had to change mine?
Swindon outlet shopping, a bit of retail therapy as they call it.
So basically the missus told you had a plan on Sunday which you hadn't banked on.
You know what? It was actually my suggestion.
Huge. Oh, Jesus Christ. So you're like, oh. The thing is, though, I kind of understand that because I'm the worst for shopping.
Yeah, you are actually. I know that.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, on one hand, I want to be like, rip you for it, but I'd be like, yeah, but do you know what I mean? If I had a little urge to go shopping, I'd have easily lunched stuff out.
Twice a year, maybe 3 times at the most. So I think Saf knows to take the opportunity.
Yeah, fair play. How is Saf? Is she all right?
Yeah, she's really good, thanks. We've got about 14 weeks to go until our baby boy's here. So yeah, all systems go.
Fantastic. Everyone's good.
She's really well, thanks.
That's good. So one of the reasons apart from the fact we haven't seen each other, so FaceTime's a good thing to do, is, but I reached out to you because of that a post you put up on Instagram about mental health.
Yeah.
And so, could you just explain to people what that was about?
So I've never really thought about how I may look to other people with an artist profile and the fact some people only see me up on that big stage. And to people who know me well, know that I have personal problems, as most people do in life. And I just wanted to put something up so that people maybe just felt at ease by knowing that someone else was going through similar problems. And it wasn't... a few people after I put it up said, "Oh, it's really good you did that," and I didn't think at once. I wasn't doing it for me, and I didn't think at once that I was. I don't know what the right word is here, but basically, people were kind of making me feel like I had not made myself look weak, but showed a weak side of myself, and they were saying like, "Wow, that takes a big person to do that." But for me, that's quite normal, and for me, a way that I have progressed in music and other aspects of life is because I've been honest with myself and not been hard on myself, although a lot of people would say I am very hard on myself, but just been honest with myself and tried to help myself through situations and the understanding of situations.
I mean, there's a funny thing that... So I have this thing, and I've spoken about it in my own stuff, about one of the things is, and I call them Pinterest sunset quotes, right? And one of them is like, but the thing about cliches in these quotes is there is a foundation of truth. And that truth is what gets lost in the quote because it's so oversaid, so overused, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And, but one of them is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Do you know what I mean? And it's all buzz talk and stuff like that. But here's an example of it. You and I have been friends for 20 years, something like that.
Yeah.
We have often had conversations about where we're not happy with stages of our lives, and then had honest conversations about what we need to do to make it better, and what those obstacles are, the hurdles we have to jump over, and where we think our weak points are, and what we need to do about them, right? And you and I have both bounced off each other, right? Sharing those thoughts, sharing those ideas, and trying to figure it out, because we know there isn't an answer. We know we don't know what all the solutions or even what all the problems are, but what we know is that we're coming up against this mental block, and we're uncomfortable with it. So we then have a chat. You and I will talk about it. We'll, you know, and there's one which I'm going to use, which is when I come to see you on your birthday, when you were doing that, one of your first big gigs where you had opened it, you'd sorted out all the tickets, and you were like, "Do you want to come inside?" You know, but it's like, no, let's go for a quiet drink.
Yeah.
And I had a chat with you then to be wary of all the people who will pull you down.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to succeed.
Yeah.
And I've just recently, I don't know if you saw it on your WhatsApp, I sent you a video of Snoop Dogg talking about the gap.
Yeah, it was just about how he had to.
And that was that conversation.
On the journey,
yeah, and that was a conversation I had with you 10 years ago, something like that. Not quite. I can't remember. And it was about
7 years ago.
Yeah. And it's about the more you start being honest about what you want, the more you start, and those people need to understand goals are not about Instagram followers, Facebook likes, or anything like that.
No.
But you know, but if that's your thing, well then fine, get in touch. We'll talk about content. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's about understanding. You know, like, what do you want your friendships to be like? What do you want your relationships to be like? What do you want your finances to be like? Your health, your fitness. You know, it's. I was just actually watching something before we started this, and these guys were talking about those friends that are just havoc and train wrecks all the time, but you hold on to them because they're old schoolmates. Yeah. No, actually, you have to let them fade. You don't have to fire them and sack people. You don't have to be rude to them. I
hate it when people say he's all right when he's not had a drink.
Exactly that. And you get to a certain point in your age, you get to a certain age where you need to understand that person knows that if they go out and drink, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, once you've done that, I'm going to be generous and say 3 times. Yeah. If you do it after that, no, that's all on you. There's nothing to do with the drink. It's all on you. Yeah. And I'm not saying don't be friends with those people, but but you have to let them walk away from you in a circle.
Well, I call it an arm's length friendship.
Yeah, and it's not a disrespect to them. It's just people prioritize. So one of the biggest things I think is an issue with mental health is people keep prioritizing other people's feelings over their own.
Yeah.
You know, and you and I.
Can I just come in and say, like, on that video I put up, I don't know if you remember, but towards the end of the video, I came with that realness and I said, look, my inbox isn't always open.
Yeah.
Because that's not real. And that's me basically saying, look, I've got my own things and I'm not going to prioritise somebody else's problems over my own, because we're all in these personal battles.
No, I mean, and just for the record and to have a dig, I did plan on watching it, but somebody brought the podcast an hour and a half forward on a Sunday morning. So I didn't get a chance to pay due diligence and the respect I would normally give to my guests and just recheck the reason that we were talking in the first place, because somebody wants to go shopping. But that's the point, though, isn't it? That there is this false expectation that's paraded around that I should be able to call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you should drop everything that you and your family have got to come out and sort me out because I've got levered for the 27th time this month. And it's like, no.
And you're still trying to work out what the problem is.
Yeah.
You're still wondering why you feel so bad on a Sunday morning.
You know. And it's the thing about the mental health issues, and like you say, when people contact you and say, well, that's not what I was expecting from you, because they're used to seeing you on stage in front of 5,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, but there's still a Monday to Friday guy that has to get on with his life, has to do X, Y, and Z, and then has to figure out a way of getting up there. Because like I've mentioned this before, when I went down to that festival with you, and I started talking to you on the way down. You're like, David, you've got to shut up. I need to get into my headspace so I can get on the stage. I have to kind of become.
You and Johnny were talking about like Indians 14th century or something.
I can't remember. I just remember you telling us we had to shut up, and you were just like, and and it's just like, right. But that's the point. It's like, look, guys, you're coming down as my guests. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you coming down. I appreciate the support. But I now have to get into MC Brooksie's head.
Yeah.
And you guys.
Work mode now, yeah.
Yeah, but that's exactly what you said. This is work mode.
Yeah.
And you two are talking shit. Do you know what I mean?
But do you know what? That's where me and you obviously have such a good friendship, because we're understanding of each other, or try to be as much as we can.
Yeah.
And obviously there is a bit of a age difference. So to a certain extent, we did grow up in different eras.
Yeah.
I would say I'm like one of the last from that, like playing in the streets, not on social media.
Yeah.
All the time era. So we can relate to a lot of things. But then there's also a difference in upbringings. But being understanding is like such a key thing. If you can. People say that they look at things both ways, but a lot of people don't. They say they do, but they don't. And there's always that there's three sides of the story: your side, my side, and the truth. Where I feel that me and you are quite good at finding stuff. And yes, you got your side. Yes, I've got my side. But we meet somewhere in the middle, along with the truth.
I think the other thing that you and I have done well over the years is, because that would be the classic example of what I call a Pinterest sunset quote. Do you know what I mean? Because people don't understand what it means, right? And it's basically, in some respects, it's a quote about perception, because people on the receiving end of an experience see it differently. Right. Yeah. There's also that thing that we know from police interviews. 10 people seen the same incident and describe 10 things happening. Yeah. Right. Nobody comes up with the same story. So there's your side, their side, and in the middle somewhere is the truth. Right. Yeah. And that's can, depending on which way the context of which you're using it, it's either a reflection on sometimes something happens and we get hurt, we get really hurt or really offended, but we're not able to see what the other person is saying, who is also experiencing something. And maybe they've reacted to something you've done, right? Or they've put in a boundary for what they feel needs to be done, and you don't like that. So you put your side across, and they're putting their side across. But actually, you both have a point, and that's the thing, is in the middle is the truth. In the middle is where both your points are, right? But nobody is going to sit there, right, when you've done something wrong. Very few people, whatever peopleable is, very few people are capable of saying, it's all on me. You were faultless in this. I'm the one entirely at fault. I'm the one completely error. And even if they do that, again, they will often say, but these are my reasons.
Yeah. There's always a but in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes they're just trying to. So I'm going to digress here, which is that thing you and I were talking about earlier, where you and I just talk for hours. But
Yeah.
sometimes the best apology you can receive from somebody is when they say they're sorry, but they explain to you why they reacted that way,
Yeah.
and they're honest about knowing that it was going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So you made me feel like this, so I did this knowing it was going to hurt you, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm sorry. Because not because of what I'd done as such, but because I knew why I was doing it, and I was doing it as a reaction because you did something that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And then you've actually explained to that person why you need to be sorry, right? But coming back to that thing, the thing that you and I have always done well together is we don't actually try and convince the other person of our story.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Quite
You
right.
say your piece and I say my piece, and we don't even try to, do you understand why I'm right? We've never said that.
No. Do you understand what point I'm making is different to understanding
Yeah.
or trying to convince someone of what you feel?
I mean, you sent me that Noel Clarke speech this morning,
Yeah.
and you said, what do you think of this? You didn't try it. You didn't put an agenda on it.
Yes. This is gonna. Yeah. You're gonna think this. You're gonna think that.
No, there was no agenda on it. You just said, what do you think of this? Well, just watch
I
this.
kind of, me and you actually, a lot of like big subjects, we actually have different opinions on,
Oh, hugely different opinions.
and that's okay. And like,
It's because you're
I
younger
like,
than me and don't know any better.
yeah, I suppose. That's the way you're gonna look at it. You're old and stuck in your own ways. I've noticed recently, so obviously this last year has been mad, and
Yeah.
the divide has been mad. If we, we're not going to go, we're not going to talk about the subject, but the divide from Brexit
Mm-hmm.
to Black Lives Matters, to anti-vaxxers, to mask wearers,
To pro-vaxxers.
yeah, I mean the list goes on and on and on. And there's a lot of the things I just mentioned, me and you, like I just said, don't have the same opinion on.
No.
But look, we don't need to like fall out over it. Like we just need to understand that it's okay to be different. And I'm saying this to a few people, and you know
You know who you are.
you know who you are.
Don't make us tag you in this.
It's mad. I've seen, people that I've known for 20 years. And, oh, I haven't seen so and so's post for a while. Oh, they've deleted me.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that's because we have a different opinion on something.
But here's a good example, right?
But obviously, I like to express my opinion.
Yeah. But do you remember? Sorry,
A lot of people don't like to do that, and it's okay not to do that, but you don't have to
No, but look, and I told you this about 2 years ago, right? We're still friends on Facebook, but I unfollowed you, so I just couldn't be bothered with it. I follow your artist, please.
Can you just say you unfollowed everyone? You didn't just unfollow me.
No, I just said that to make you feel better, but no, I did unfollow a lot of people, but I actually just told you.
Yeah.
I just said to you, look, I follow your artist page, so I know what you're doing with your music. But I was getting, like you say, you'd voice your opinion on something, and sometimes I'd agree with you, sometimes I wouldn't. And there'd be these big debates going on your page, and I'd just be like, I can't be.
You'd probably round up at some of the uneducated comments, and yeah.
My biggest thing, and you and I have talked about this a lot, and it's probably one of the areas that we have a lot of common ground. And without meaning to be a bit blasé about it, the world's a big place. There's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah.
And regardless of what your political feelings are, nobody actually cares. And if they tell you they do, they're full of shit. Nobody kind of really cares outside of your immediate family and friends, right?
No.
And if you for 1 second think some person that doesn't know you on the other side of the world on a different continent gives a flying, about your feelings or sentiments, then you're delusional. Yeah. But yeah. Right. But again, do you know what I mean? And you and I have spoken about Prince Philip, and the stuff
It's cool. Yeah.
I'll send you something about Prince Philip later that will show you his. And so this is why I talked to you about before about the value of institutions and our history. Right. You need to understand where they came from. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but you need to people need to understand where they came from before they start trying to tear structures down.
Yeah.
Because
I completely.
And that's not the same as agreeing with them.
Yeah.
But people are judging. I've gone off on a tangent here, but people are judging the death of a 99-year-old man in 2021 standards. Well, you weren't there when he was born.
Yeah.
You didn't live the life. So here's a classic example, all right, of what people don't talk about with Prince Philip. He was effectively orphaned, right?
Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah, his mum and dad were alcoholics, weren't they?
Yeah, and he had his own royal lineage, which he gave up for the Queen.
Yeah.
He fought for the UK, despite the fact I think it was his sisters, all married members of the German army. So he fought against his own family, right, for our country. His uncle was Lord Mountbatten. I think it was Lord Mountbatten. I could be wrong. I'm sure it was Lord Mountbatten, who was killed by the IRA, allegedly bombed by the IRA, right? And many years later, as part of the peace process, he watched his wife shake the hands of one of the men who allegedly killed his uncle, the guy that raised him. Yeah. And he did it with grace.
Yeah.
In front of the entire world. Now, would you be doing the same?
Well,
could you do the same? No, but
I don't know. You can't say no because I've never been in that position. So
no, exactly that. You can't. It's very difficult to understand. But then people will say, "Well, he's right, privileged, blah blah." Yeah, absolutely. But you're still watching your wife shake the hand of the man who's the head of the organisation that killed your great uncle. Okay, so he killed your uncle, the man who raised you.
Yeah, but can I just butt in and say that because we are going way off subject.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not going to start debating about the royal family because I'm not anti.
No, in fact, let's just cut it there because that wasn't the point of the podcast.
Back to what you were saying at the start of it was that you said not too long ago about you cut people out. And someone always told me you're only as strong as the three people closest to you. I forgot you said that to me, but it was like I was like, wow, yeah, that's always stuck with me.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So we were talking about.
If we talk about Philip's death, yeah, like what you're saying is remarkable, yeah, and what he did for our country or for his wife, who was the head of the country, and what he sacrificed from his own life to do that is remarkable. But, and I'm not saying a but at Philip, I'm saying a but at all the people who write R.I.P. Prince Philip don't know any of this. And they don't care.
No, you're absolutely right.
They get walked into this. I'm going to write something because I just saw Jim from down the road write it. And I know that Jim served in the Falklands. So he did something for our... Look, yes, he did something for our country, like a lot of people did, but they did a job. Yeah.
But it's the same. I mean, it's basically because
they don't talk about what a bit off subject again. We're not going to go down that route, but NHS workers like yourself, like my partner, and yourself, you work in the industry. I know that it's overrun and underfit, but that is something you guys all kind of know, or when you're getting into that job, you know that you are caring for people.
Yeah.
And also the people on the front line in these A&Es or in the hospitals, yeah, what do they sign up? They know what they're getting themselves into, right?
Yeah.
Play to them for that, yeah. I'm not, but then this last year, someone who works in a supermarket, which is seen as a very basic job.
Yep.
Now they were on the front line of this pandemic,
Yes.
regardless of people were going to say, yeah, but they weren't treating people. No, they weren't, but they were providing the main essential. And don't forget, for months, no one was wearing masks.
So,
which I'm not saying is a good or a bad thing, but
I
these
think,
people,
Brooksie. The problem is we've both gotten into a rant now and gone completely off topic. The point is how trending about things makes mental health problems, right? Because people don't actually care.
No, they don't. They don't give a toot, and they're getting walked into all this stuff, and their mate is actually in a real bad place, and he could do with some help.
Yeah.
But it's much easier to turn. I'm not saying turn the news on. I'm not being like that. It's much easier to look at something that everyone is talking about, and chucking in some irrelevant opinion that you just actually copied off someone else's status because you thought, oh, well,
but there's things that. So, I mean, crikey, this could go into a huge thing, right? But so look, one of the things to remember is like we talk about generations. In my generation, the internet didn't exist, nor did 24-hour news channels, so we weren't flooded with information. And if we wanted to find something out, we actually had to go to a library and take the time to do it. Yeah. And there's that classic thing they talk about when it comes to today on social media. People will spend 15 minutes doing a quiz to find out what sort of potato they are. They won't spend 2 minutes looking up if something's true.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because people by nature are into entertainment. We want to be amused. And we want to always be pleasured, stimulated. Right? Yeah. And we've created people that are running off drama, and with that, and lots of other reasons, but you get anxieties, mental health issues, and it's like I was saying, is one of the things, like especially when I'm coaching people, right, is it's trying to unhinge people from giving a fuck what other people think before they care about what they feel. We've become so external in needing validation from others that we're forgetting to look in the mirror and be pleased with who we see. And what, you know, like, so you and I have talked about this many times, you know, when we're hanging out together, you know, like when you're trying to do something for your next gig, you're observing what's going on in the world. You're writing lyrics. You're practicing those lyrics. You're writing new lyrics. You're rehearsing. And what people see is 2 hours. They didn't see the 6 months.
No, yeah. Quite right, yeah.
But they see you, and they say, yeah, Brooksie, right?
Look at him.
Yeah.
Thinks he's wealthy.
Right? And, but that's the point. But there is that element of, you know, who does he think he is? For some people and other people, like Legend, I love what he does. But they're not seeing the single parent guy who works using his spare time to practice lyrics, his spare time to hone his craft. And there's no promise at the end of it. There's no guarantee that gig, you're going to be offered that gig in 6 months from now. You know, if you look at lockdown, you've still been doing live gigs on lockdown for no money, for just keeping the drum and bass spirit going, keeping the drum and bass sounds flowing. Do you know what I mean? I kind of almost said something then. Yay.
Yeah,
Right.
you got a bit about you, haven't you?
Yeah. I'll be on stage next. I've seen Brooksie do it. It can't be
Well,
hard.
that's a bit too far. Can't
Yeah, I'll be delivering drinks. Um, is but it's and that's what people are not seeing.
Yeah.
They're not seeing the rehearsals, the rehearsals. And look, you know yourself, you know, like with me writing a book and everything, it's people don't see how long that took, how many ideas were scrapped, thrown away, the frustration, and then right, well, I need to just start again. And I have thrown away 20,000 words. I wrote a manuscript in 2019. It was like 20 odd thousand words. And then I put it down, came back to it a few weeks later, and I was just like, I'm not happy with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't exist anymore. But that was six.
You'd be shocked at the amount of lyrics that sounded good at 1 o'clock in the morning.
This is
And
it.
then you wake up the next day and it's just like, what was I even thinking? I must have been tired last night.
You know.
But then again, that is what we're talking about. It's we are being honest. We're not like, oh my God, I've worked so hard on this. I have to post this. And now I have to deal with everyone's opinion on what I agree with.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
You know. And this is the thing is people.
Can I just say, I'm sorry about going a bit off subject to anyone who's watching this podcast is kind of feeling.
Mate,
like
anyone that was offended by the rant had already switched off. They can't hear this apology.
What I want to say is I appreciate everyone who's been working throughout this pandemic, and I just want to leave that note on there.
Okay, but just to clarify, anyone that felt Jesus Christ, this guy isn't going to shut up, have already stopped listening.
Yeah.
So you're not apologising to anyone. Yeah. We've already lost them.
Thank you for the ones who stayed with
us. Well done, Brooksie's mum.
Frick.
But this is, you know, you and I have had the same social circles of different generations. It's actually how you and I know each other, and we've also seen the same people live the same lives continuously, and blame everybody else for their circumstances. But the minute either one of us have tried to help the same people and tried to show them a different way, it's like, no, that's hard. Yeah. But it's not hard. It's just a mindset. It's understanding.
And again, it's cliche, but good things don't come easy. You know, it really.
This is what, because people.
Something's really easy or something's really simple. It's not a good thing. It's not.
No, there's no value to it at all. And because the other reason as well is, well, there's a few reasons. One, your competition is always going to be the person that can put in the most hours. Now, if they happen to be talented as well, that's just doubled your competition. So I'm going to give some kudos to your favourite poster boy, Frank Lampard, right? Always noted as not the most naturally gifted. Everyone talks about his work ethic, how he turned up early for practice, did practice, stayed behind and practiced more. So he elevated himself to a world standard with hard work.
Yeah.
He wasn't everybody.
No, he wasn't.
No, he created talented.
He can say that himself. And it's not like, oh, look at me and look what I've become. It's just, I wasn't that good. And I wasn't, I was.
Yeah.
He wasn't as naturally talented as Jamie. And obviously having an older cousin who was a professional footballer as well, it was a benchmark.
But it was also more pressure.
Yeah, but it also, he knew he had to do it himself.
Yeah.
And obviously the added pressure of your dad being an ex-player and having exactly the same name.
None of it helps. Do you know what I mean? There was no advantage to his family situation.
I think he's an absolutely brilliant example.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And even with what's happened with him this year, it's like, obviously when he first got sacked from the Chelsea job, I was very upset and disappointed for him, as I'm sure a lot of other fans were. But as time has gone on, and I was listening to Gary Neville podcast the other day, he said Frank's got, he's got experience that not many people have got, especially English coaches and especially young English coaches. He's managed the top 6 English side, and regardless of how that went, and that's an experience that he can learn and grow from, and I'm sure the character he was as a player, he will take that on board and then grow as a manager as well, or coach.
I think, to be fair as well, especially for people that are not into football or know anything about Chelsea, nobody expected the outcome to be different.
No, yeah, there's a massive high expectation at Chelsea, and he was inexperienced for that job, and he kind of filled a hole in a period where we were obviously under a transfer embargo.
He did an incredible job, but like many managers before him that have done incredible jobs, where they've set the bar, he didn't hit where they wanted the bar, so they sacked him. And when you look at the list of Chelsea managers, since they would take, it's Frank actually did better than most to stay as long as he did.
He did, and also he played for that team long enough to know that that was the consequence you faced if results weren't. And that again, football is, people don't look at it as a business, and there's an expectation there, and it's
so actually. Bringing this back to what we were talking about, expectations is a very good point. Because
I've got a lot of things to say on that.
Yeah, but this is the point. We put expectations externally. We put them on people. We put them on politicians. We put them on friends. We put them on family. But we have no evidence that they're supposed to live up to them at all. But we bank all of our belief on those expectations without questioning. It's, again, here's a cliche, actions speak louder than words. And that is, stop listening to what people tell you and watch what they do.
Yeah.
And that's what you should build your expectations on. What you see people do, not what they say they're going to do.
Yeah. And, again, back to social media, I've made a point recently, there's a lot of agency. So when I first started promoting, there was probably 3 agencies that I could go to for good artists and book through them.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you could do it personally. And it was a win-win that way, because the agent wouldn't be taking any fee. And yes, it was just easier. Well, anyway, as time's gone on, I reckon there's now, I can even say, because I could come off this phone call now, set up a Facebook page, get some artwork done, and say that I'm now running an agency, and hit up some artists. And the point I'm getting to is, to be on an agency used to be, and it still is, it's a big thing, like in the drum and bass scene.
But I remember,
but if someone makes, I don't know where this started. Sorry.
Right. So can I interject, because you're getting so het up, you're starting to waffle without any context, right? Is what your point is? Social media makes it very easy for anybody to set up a profile picture, add some text, and claim to be something they're not, with no evidence, with nothing to demonstrate what they've done. Whereas once upon a time, you actually had to put in some hours, do some legwork, gain people's trust, and demonstrate you had a skill set to do it.
Yeah, actually hold some weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now, like you said, I could literally, and I could do it easier than most people. I could literally claim to be a drum and bass promoter and agent, and I'll just tag some of your flyers. I'll just share some of your flyers that I'm tagged in. There you go. I represent Brooksie. And then when you come out 6 months later, you realise what I've done and say he's full of shit. I'll say, yeah, we had a falling out because of his ego.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
You know, and then I'll promote it as, if you're an artist with talent and not an ego, I'm your man. In fact, I think I've just come up with a great business idea at your expense. But that's
I think people are sold empty promises, and I think that instead of questioning what they are being promised, or I just don't. I we're just so naive to it all, and maybe I'm lucky that I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky.
It's not. It is a naivety, but for different reasons. And the thing is, human nature is the path of least resistance. Right? Why would you do something difficult if it can be done easier?
Yeah.
Okay. But then what nature did was introduced natural competition, which created natural selection, because those that were prepared to put in the effort came out on top.
Yeah.
Right? Those that wanted the easy life didn't do as well. But in the modern world, we're not trying to survive out on the plains, out on the savannah, out in the jungle, out in the mountainous regions. We're not trying to do that anymore. We're quite cozy. I've got the central heating in the office and a little coffee machine behind me there. I've already had my espressos, and you're sitting in your conservatory. It's life's a lot more comfortable than it used to be. So somebody who gets the opportunity to claim to be something they're not, or something they haven't worked for, it's an easy path, because hard work is uncomfortable. And it's very, very difficult to explain to people, right, that the thing about hard work is down the line comes incredible rewards. But it's not financial rewards as such. It's rewards about your self-worth, your validation, your self-esteem. So look, the classic cliche in a sense is when you look at people that go to the gym, the bodybuilders, the six-pack guys and all of that, right? And people are always like, they'll always shout out genetics or steroids, right? And as soon as anybody that knows a lot about fitness knows, as soon as you say that, we know you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. And the reason for that is, even if you had the generics, even if you're on the right steroid cycle, you still have to go and lift your ass off. You still have to go and work your ass off. You still have to diet like a monk. It's just not easy. The reward is you get the body and the self-reflection of who you want to be. You become the living embodiment of your dreams, but you become this embodiment of your ambitions, your reflection of who. So the thing that's difficult for people to understand, if you have this idea of who you want to be, well, then you have to start taking steps towards that person, and you have to start asking yourself, what would that person do? So when you wanted to become an MC, at some point, right, there was part of you that was like, well, you wanted to be on stage, you wanted to be MC Brooksie, you wanted all the people screaming, etc., right? That's great. But at some point you had to ask yourself, how do you do that? What does an MC do? And that's when you had to get humble and spit out a few shitty, crappy bars and think, that was awful. And then you start doing it again and you're like, that was awful, but it was better than the last awful.
Yeah.
And when you look, and there will have been a time when you stood up and you were like, yeah, man, that's really good. But when you look at it now, you're like, that was awful.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But you can see who the guy was becoming.
Yeah. I listened to a performance from 3 years ago the other day at work, and I couldn't stand it, but I said to myself, I'm just going to listen to this because it's just a reminder of how far I've come. And when we're speaking about what we're speaking about, what we keep doing, or you more so, is we keep saying, but if I want to do that, but if I want to become better, and I think that's really important in what we're saying is, but if you
Yeah.
yourself, and that's where I want to just put something I saw yesterday from an artist I used to book. This guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a very talented artist. But maybe thought he was bigger than he was. Maybe thought he was in a better position than he was. And because he's a talented artist, maybe felt that he deserved to be. Well, anyway, he's been very quiet recently on the music front, and then he has dropped a couple of videos recently, and they're good, and they've had good pickup of interaction and people talking about him again, which was good to see. But he wrote a status, and I haven't wrote it down word by word, but I've just taken some points from it. Last night, he wrote that he had sectioned himself in hospital because his mental health had just spiraled out of control. He didn't know what to do. And he just got sent home. And he was kind of saying, look, this, you know, we're not going to say the word system because we don't like that, but he was just saying that he'd been to A&E, basically, you know, saying his mental health had spiraled out of control and he was no good, and he got sent home. But he didn't then, he then said, but I will not get trapped into my own thoughts, into my own devilish thoughts. And he is saying that he is going to take responsibility for his own actions and not try and drink or do whatever was causing that pain or covering the cracks of his actual pain. But in what I took from all of that is he halfway through he switched it and said, but I am not going to let myself, but I am not going to fall into this trap. And I thought, you know, I respect that massively, because you've got a problem and a lot of people are in the same boat. But what I don't understand is, what do these people expect people to? I don't understand what is expected.
But but this comes back to the thing about expectations.
If you need help on, I need help on this, and this, okay, but you know, things just can't happen overnight, and a big part of all of it is helping yourself.
It's all about helping yourself, but we have.
Yeah. And I'm saying that from experience. I used to sit there trying to point a finger, trying to moan about whatever else. And something that you've always said to me that was so good is, but are you surprised?
Yeah.
You know, and when you start not being surprised by things that shouldn't surprise you because they happen often, then yeah, like, you know, things I used to get upset and angry about.
But look, you know me very, very well, and you know, recently, you know, the last couple of years, I got rolled over by someone, and you know, it kicked the shit out of me, right? But then we also had conversations about it, and you were like, why were you surprised?
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, yeah, you know. And as you know, it's
hard to digest.
100%. And you know, I see a therapist on a monthly basis. Shout out to Caroline, Caroline Kavanagh. To anyone out there, the best therapist in the world.
I've checked her podcast. She's wicked.
Yeah. And I see her on a monthly basis, right? And just in case anybody missed out, the best therapist in the world, right? In my opinion.
And can I just add, someone of your capability and someone who is in touch with how they feel and what makes them tick and what doesn't, still goes and sees a therapist once a month.
It's essential. It's essential.
Everyone needs to, but everyone needs to be able to communicate, right?
But so one of the things, I think one of the things that's misunderstood, certainly about, so I'll explain a little bit about my sessions with Caroline, right? And the thing I need to make very, very clear is Caroline as a therapist is at a level that what happens with me won't happen with somebody else. Do you know what I mean? The best therapists in the world are able to keep everybody individual. They don't have a script that they run off. Do you know what I mean? That
with different
it,
needs. And,
yeah, they work with the person that's in front of them. You know, they're not reading a script out of a book. It's not customer services, right?
they're not coming with examples.
No. So, but one of the things that I often work a lot with Caroline, as well as actually she coaches me for my own business and my own ideas and supports me with that, is she's very good at getting me to reflect on why it's important to me. And am I getting caught up in some desire to be loved externally, validated externally because of insecurities? Or am I doing something for the right reasons, for the values that matter to me? You know, because, you know, I don't have like the world's biggest social media following, but I have quite a few thousand people on TikTok now and stuff like that, you know. I have clients and stuff, and things are going in the directions that I've been planning and the work that I've been putting in and I've been chasing. And only recently, again, Caroline was like, are you sure you're doing this for the right reasons? And I have to stop and I have to be honest and I have to reflect. And in doing that, you have to question your morals, because you want to think that you're this person, but do your actions support that?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you realize that you're getting caught in the trappings of your ego, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Your ego is what will get you up out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
But if you don't have somebody there to just keep it accountable and just check in with you and say, look, are you doing this because you're trying to help lots of people, or are you doing this because you want an Aston Martin and you think it's the easiest way to get there?
Yeah.
And you're like, I do want that Aston Martin, you know, but actually, how am I best helping people? Which is always the ambition. Hence the reason I do all the videos. But I need somebody to keep that in check so I don't lose what I'm actually passionate about. And then there's the days and the weeks where I feel flat and my own mental health is taking a battering. You know, for whatever reasons. You know, look, you know, just recently my brother collapsed and was in hospital. You know, and it happened with me there, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, you know.
Go to the window for a minute.
Yeah, but you get a few knocks like that. You know, if there's somebody listening to this now and they've just lost a sibling, they've lost a parent, they've just been shit on by a partner, you only need a couple of things to just kick you too many times, and you're down. And you might not recover from that for no other reason than you don't have somebody. So for me, someone like Caroline on the coaching side is one thing, but from the therapist point of view, when I start getting those digs and I start feeling low, I have somebody invested in listening to me.
Yeah.
And that becomes priceless.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? There's a headspace that is available from Caroline that I can't have anywhere else. And I don't want it from anyone else. You know, I've been seeing Caroline now for 5 years. So I don't want to. And I'd seen lots of different therapists before Caroline. But she was the one I clicked with.
Yeah, she was the one you just found got you and could,
just
mind.
Yeah, I don't know what she did to deserve the punishment or the blessing, depending on which way you want to reflect on it. But she is the one I have a connection with. So I couldn't go to anybody else because she gets me. She gets what I'm trying to do. She gets what I want. And that's the thing about therapists is, but your therapist could be down the local boxing gym. It could be coaching kids football. It could be just putting headphones on, listening to MC Brooksie spit some bars to some dirty drum and bass. It's the reason that works for me is because I'm a therapist. I'm a coach, and I'm obsessed with it.
You find things that you enjoy and make you tick, and I think in my notes moderation's written down a couple of times. I think that's something something that you've always been really good with me for, is like if I have a bit of a bad habit, you may say, as long as it's not affecting your performance, then in moderation have that. Everyone's got that, like, you know, they eat chocolate or drink coffee or drink beer or whatever.
Yeah,
Everyone has got, and you know, addiction. I don't think we've mentioned it, and we're not going to go well into it because this is more about people trying to give people an understanding of how communicating is so key, and being wrong is okay, and learning from your mistakes is okay. And I say to my 5-year-old child every single day, well, not every day, but you know, she gets really, you know, hit up when she fails at something, like we all do. But you know, you're only going to get better
but I
if you
think
fail and learn from it. Or and also, you know, bless her, you know, she's at a stage where she doesn't. She might think that we don't make mistakes as adults, and
yeah,
you know, and a lot of adults will make their child believe that. They will make their child believe, even when the child is in the right, they will make their child that, you know,
yeah.
to make themselves feel better.
But just
Um,
can I just bring us back to something, because I just had this thought that occurred to me. In different, especially on social media, in different social media circles, you and I look like we're very successful, and you and I look like we've got it all under control and we're doing very well. And that just isn't the case 24/7. What we do well is have outlets where we can go when we need something.
yeah,
You know, there is somebody we can talk to. There is a person we can see. There is a routine or a habit or a hobby.
and
There's
can I just say, it's not an overnight thing. As you just mentioned, you had lots of different
yeah,
therapists that weren't particularly working. And there's lots of different people that I've spoke to close to me, yeah, like, you know, don't need to mention names. And it's like I could literally pour out my whole heart of emotions, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear you feel like that."
mm, yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
know, that's not. And you
And
have to understand this. You have to find people who are on your level.
but
And
it's one of the things I was going to kind of get to is the big difference is we recognize when we need help with anything,
hmm,
and we then seek it.
yeah, and that's okay. Yeah, like
And it
I
doesn't
don't have a,
matter,
I
but
don't have
it
a problem with asking for help, and you know, I
but,
don't.
but it doesn't matter what it is. You know, it wouldn't matter if I needed a plumber, a decorator, a fitness instructor, or a therapist.
Yeah,
If I know there's something out of tune in my life, I
yeah,
seek to fix it. And I think that's one of the big things that people miss is people who can appear to have a good handle on everything or seem to be doing exceptionally well within their mental health often just know how to keep it in tune.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
They're not magic beings that don't have any problems.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, everyone's definitely got problems, and um, I just want like people, you know, I want people to understand that it's normal to have problems, and
Mm.
it's normal to have big problems as well. And especially like, you know, I'm 28, so I'm in that kind of prime category of like, you
Yeah,
know, male 25 to 30s who are like, you know, there's people having children, there's people buying houses, there's people getting married, there's people not doing any of that. And
yeah.
you know, these things are hard to you know, on hard everyone's hard on themselves.
So
And
look, here's a good example, right? Because like you say, there's lots of pressure on couples, young couples and stuff to buy a house, right?
yeah,
And everyone talks about how expensive it is and how hard it is, right? Trust
yeah,
me, and people will disagree with me. It's never been any harder or any easier than it is now. Because 20 years ago, it was nearly impossible to get a mortgage unless you had a minimum amount of deposit, was over a certain age, and interest rates were through the same. So yes, house prices were the same, were half what they are today, easily half what they were today. But the
mm,
difficulty in getting the mortgage was relative, because now you can access finance easier than ever. It used to be a minimum of 10% deposit. you know, interest rates were at
yeah,
15%. and you could only get X amount times your earnings. Whereas they've changed all of those laws, and it hasn't made it more accessible. It's just harder in a different way, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things is that what nobody emphasizes on is, so when they made it more accessible, they were trying to make it easier. So we're back to people not wanting to work for something that they really want. And then people then lose that. So like when I first got my house, we were very lucky. My ex-partner's father helped with the deposit.
Yeah.
Right? So a few things fell on our lap.
Yeah.
But we were the ones that had...
These things are quite common.
But we were the ones that had to pay the mortgage, and it was still an entire month's salary gone out of the house before we did anything else, right? Yeah. But the thing is, we had to go without. Sacrifices were made, if you want to call them sacrifices. It's not a word I'm massively keen on, but we get caught up in this dialogue of it's not easy, it's not fair. Well, it's not supposed to be, and the ones that are getting ahead are the ones that don't care if it's easy or it's not fair. It's just, this is what I want, and this is what I want to do. So the person that's really serious about, I want this house, is the one that's got 2 jobs. Are the ones that aren't going on holiday, the ones that have got rid of their TV packages, got rid of their expensive mobile phones, are sacrificing, going without everything else because that's their focus and that's their goal. They're not driving a badge on their driveway, trying to impress their neighbours. They don't wear the latest everything because that's not their priority. And it's really what you want to prioritise that's important to you. But nobody wants to prioritise it. They want everything. Well, which one matters to you? And if you're an individual, you're a couple, and you want a house, right? You need to prioritise that over everything else. And when your focus, that compass point is only pointing in that direction, you'll be amazed how easy it becomes in 6 months. 6 months from now, you'll be like, damn.
And it goes back to what you were saying about the whole like time thing. People will take a test for 15 minutes to find out what kind of potato they are, but they won't read about something
for 2 minutes
that may help them for 2 minutes. And it's kind of the same with the money, isn't it? I've seen something recently about like a new iPhone is £1,500, I think, outright. Yeah. And people will say that £1,500 too expensive for, I don't know, maybe like a course, like a evening course.
People don't have £1,500 to do a course that can earn them a living.
But they do to buy the latest phone, and it's just priorities. And I do think, I don't think we're ever going to get away from like Instagram bloggers and traders.
No, you're not.
And I like you know as well as me, like the people who are serious about that are making money, and are, well, let's just say the ones who are at the top, they are. You can look at it as in whatever way you want to, but it's clever from them, isn't it? It's clever from them.
I have an interesting insight on that, right?
Can I just say quickly, like these people, they get so wrapped into like trading or selling a product that they completely forget about their own self-esteem. They completely forget about their self and their own things that make them tick, and that kind of goes in line with like the whole bad habit thing. So like I've got females on there and they're like telling me that they haven't had chocolate in like a week, but they like literally look like they're going to cry about it. Like, just go and have a chocolate bar. Like, it's not gonna kill you. And like, being honest, like I don't think taking capsules is the way forward. I think going out for a bit of exercise and eating a bit of fruit.
But that's hard. It's not an instant fix.
No, it is hard, but
that's the.
Do these people not find it hard that they're blogging their whole life for for what? What are they doing that for? Do you know what I mean? They're telling, "Hi guys, I've just had a banana and I'm just going to go for a walk now."
Because they've externalized their self-esteem.
But these people aren't successful people. They're selling a product for someone else and getting 10% commission. That's
but
not.
but this
And
is
these people, it goes back to the whole like, oh, let's make an agent. They are literally calling themselves business owners, Dave.
yeah, I
They
know.
don't own a business, mate. They don't. Oh,
But
or this artist has just been signed to.
so
What have you been signed to? You haven't signed anything.
this is going to turn into a therapy session if we're not careful, right? But hang on. So first
I'm
one.
gonna have to round it up soon because I'm getting the rabbit eyes through.
Okay, well then try letting me speak for a
Really
minute.
sorry about that.
Right, that's right. So anyway, so I'm just going to cover two things very quickly. The first one is influencers, right? And I learnt this for myself, by following people on YouTube because I was trying to figure out how to make my YouTube videos more popular.
Yeah.
And what I discovered was the people that I were watching only made content about how to make YouTube videos more popular. So the only people watching were people like me.
Yeah.
Who actually had a different product, but were trying to learn off somebody who wasn't selling my product. The product they sold was how to make your YouTube videos look good. And this is why I've got thousands and millions. Well, that doesn't work because I'm not giving advice on how to sell YouTube videos and how to make your YouTube videos look good. I'm trying to promote my podcasts and my coaching above that level. Well, so those people can't actually teach me nothing because anybody who's interested in what I'm doing isn't looking at how to make your videos more popular on YouTube, right? So that's the first one. The second one, which is about these people that call themselves business owners, etc., etc. Apart from the fact that they're pretending to be somebody they're not, is the question becomes, why is it so upsetting for you?
Why is it so upsetting for me personally?
Yeah.
Because they're just literally putting themselves down and they don't even know they're doing it. Because what they're doing is they're selling themselves a lie, or they're being sold a lie. And what I'm saying is, like, if you want to do that, do it well. Yeah, like when we were kids growing up, my mum sold Tupperware or sold Avon. Yeah, but she's never once said she owned a business.
No, for sure.
She just did that because we needed extra money, and she did that for us as a family because that's the people she cares about. So I think I don't think people do it for the right reasons. First of all, I think they do it to look good rather than to feel good, or so. And
but do you think there's an element?
I think that they forget about what. Like I see most of these people, let's be real, have young kids and they're just trying to earn a bit of money.
But
do you know what? Respect to them for doing that rather than going on something like OnlyFans, because credit where it's due. It's better to sell someone else's products than your own body for the sake of a bit of money.
I don't know, mate. If you're earning, you're earning.
But do you feel that unless it's done professionally do you not think that that's unfair on a generation of children we have to come who have on the playground, your mum got her tits out?
No, and here's why. Because we're back to, you have to, right, so we're worrying about what other people think about the decisions we make today.
But I think when people have children, I don't think I don't think everything that they feel and do or want in life goes as. But I do think it has to take a back seat.
Here's the catch-22, right? As I would describe it, and in my opinion on it. You are free to do and behave what you want as long as it doesn't impact on me as an individual, right? Now, if you, in terms of OnlyFans, right, if you have an attractive body, face, whatever, that men, women, whoever, pay you to see you strip, do whatever you do, right? And you're making a bucket load of money from that. I genuinely hope you're investing it wisely for when the OnlyFans drops off, because a newer, fresher model comes along, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you are free to do that. You are free to do that without any judgment or prejudice in my eyes, right? But 10 years down the line, when you do have children or you've got children or anything, your children may, because of the nature of children and the human nature, get ridiculed by people in the playground. So then we have a two-pronged problem. One, your kids are just going to have to toughen up and suck it up, right? People don't have a judgment to make, a right to make judgment on how you earned your money at some point, right? And this is the thing, right? We don't have a right to judge people on how they've made their living. What we need to do is be teaching our kids to have some fucking manners and not to go ridiculing people because of the circumstances from which they were born that they had no control over.
But most of these people, mate, have kids already. They have like fucking 1-year-old kids, Dave. Yeah, you cannot sit in front of me now and tell me that is okay. You cannot. Don't tell me that's okay, because it's not okay.
How somebody chooses.
It's not okay. Now, if my daughter's mum was doing that, then and
that's
daughter, okay. Let's not use my daughter as an example.
But that's why it's personal to you. That's why it's personal.
It's damaging on what our country and what people would do for instead of working 16 hours in a coffee shop, when your child goes to work, you get your vagina out and play with it for other people's enjoyment, and on top of that, you have a partner. You don't regardless. I'm not buying that. I don't think that I don't think the worth of how much money people earn, and I completely agree. If it's someone who doesn't have children and they are attractive and they are getting lots of money and then investing that money into something that they want to do in their life, clever person.
I think you're misunderstanding. What I'm saying is, I don't have the right to judge.
Okay, and why do you feel that you don't have that right? Because obviously we're talking about a lot of other things here, so there's a lot of things that...
Because people are free, people should be free to make choices about how they bring in their income.
Children, if they don't into this world...
If they're, is to me, right, whether or not I think it's a wise choice doesn't remove your right to make the choice.
Mate, I see so many people locally going on about self-esteem, and self-worth.
I don't think it's a good route to self-esteem or self-worth.
How they get made to feel, but they won't talk about the fact they've been selling photos of themselves naked.
So but I'll go with that. That's not the route to self-worth. We're going back to...
I just think it's really and I think it's the same with these YouTubers, this bloke Aaron Paul, Dave, you heard of him?
No.
He's boxed. I don't know who he's boxing, but he's been trying to call out Conor McGregor. He's just a YouTube blogger, whatever they call themselves. I don't even know what they call themselves because I don't care. Literally.
Is he the blonde-haired guy?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I know who you mean.
He wants to fight it, he wants to do this, for me, I'm going to be honest, stuff for hustle, stuff the money making for a minute, I'm passionate about what I like, and I haven't changed that because what I like has become unpopular and jumped on some other bandwagon halfway away. And I really feel offended when you get these MCs who know that they're not, and they're just this is popular, I'm going to come in and take the mick out of an MC, and that's going to make me money.
But do you see how...
I just think it's...
But do you see how...
It shouldn't be used like that, I think.
Yeah, but do you see how that reflects that what annoys you is the anger that you haven't put in the same work and effort as me, but you're claiming to be on the same level as me. because you
Yeah, but
unfortunately.
me personally, because I'm not trying to I'm not in some rat race trying to get to the front. Like, I'm happy at the gigs I do, and I'm lucky in the
So
sense that
look,
when I perform to big crowds, and I
yeah,
don't have to
but
travel up and down the country for £50 to
but
do that.
these people are trying to pretend they're in the same league. They're promoting the idea they're in the same league, and
I
that.
just think, yeah, I just think it's completely wrong that
Yeah,
we've
no,
got
I don't.
people.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I just disagree with you for different reasons.
We're gonna get to a stage where people just aren't gonna they're not gonna do things in they're not gonna have that fire and that passion
So
inside them to do it. It's just because it's gonna make them money or because it's popular.
no, so look, let's go back to the OnlyFans thing, right? The reason I don't have an issue with OnlyFans, right, is because it's just not my right to judge how people make money. But the point you're making, which is really valid, is the same people that you know who are doing it, trying to make quick money, are then complaining that people don't take them seriously.
Yeah,
Right. Well, that's, to me, that's like being an overweight fitness instructor giving nutrition advice.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That
I don't. I just think OnlyFans is like funny. Like, I
but
think
there's a difference, because it comes back down to that thing of
just as
people.
bad. I think they are just as bad because and yeah.
They're just, it's the quick money solution to trying to solve a problem
Yeah,
where,
just like traders,
yeah,
all these different and let's be honest, all of it is social media. So I think, like we said before this phone call, mental health apparently didn't exist 80 years ago.
okay, so right, well, first one, just
We're going to
so,
round it up with that, I reckon,
well,
because
we are, but and then I'm just going to put in something in defense of that OnlyFans again. Strip clubs,
Dave's
strip bars.
definitely for some birds who've got OnlyFans.
No, I definitely not. Strip clubs and strip bars have been around for centuries, long before the internet and
Yeah.
OnlyFans. The only difference OnlyFans did is it put the power in somebody's house.
The only difference is she can't go to work at the strip club because she's got 2 young children to look after, and that's her fucking role. Because that is what she wanted, and that's her role.
But
Right?
but you're talking about personal ethics over somebody's right to make their own decisions.
Yeah,
And yeah. So, but anyway, so the reason, like 80 years ago, it's not that mental health problems that didn't exist. We know they did because of asylums and stuff like that, right? But we're going to take your dad, because that's where the conversation stemmed from. When your dad was a kid, right, every adult he knew had fought in the war. Every adult,
yeah.
every adult he knew. Right. What year was your dad born in?
59.
59, right? So any adult he knew had fought in the Second World War.
Well, his dad didn't, so
His dad must have done something in the Second World War.
He served in the RAF, yeah.
Yeah, right. So he survived the Second World War. He'd fought. The thing is, not everybody was on the front line because.
No, he wasn't. But
right.
Yeah.
Right, but he survived the invasion of the German army in the Second World War. Yeah. Right. His dad was probably also old enough to remember the people that fought in the First World War. Right. Right. And what you've got to remember is, I think it was like a third of the population never came home.
Yeah.
Right. Medication, like we have it today, didn't exist. Right. The National Health Service, free health service, so you could just see a doctor, was not introduced until 1953.
Yeah.
Right. So anybody your dad grew up with thought the very fact you could make an appointment to see a doctor and not have to pay for it was a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Right. I can't remember the exact year, but people forget rationing didn't end after the war. It carried on for something like another 10 years. I don't know the exact number, right? So these people that your dad was born into knew a time when it was against the law to have too many eggs, too much flour, sugar.
Yeah,
right?
I'm keen for that. Bring it back.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So all of those people, so like when I was growing up as a kid, every adult I knew had survived, was either born in the war or shortly after it, right? So they all remember practicing the bombing raids. They all remember the kids that got evacuated, right? You know, I remember this teacher telling us they used to sound a siren at school, and when that happened, you had to run out of the classrooms and get home by a certain time. And if you made it when the bomb sirens went, right? This was his school days. When the bomb sirens went, if you had made the timer, you didn't have to go to the school bomb shelter. You could run back to the one at home. So you could be in a bomb shelter with mum and dad and your brothers and sisters. They were your two options when the bomb siren went off. And that depended on how good a runner you were. So you're trying to run home when there's a bomb siren dropping bombs. Because, hey, someone's going to come and blow your house up. But if you get home, you can be there for it. Right? And that's how those people grew up. So by the time you got into the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, these people now had no more rations, free healthcare, and were alive. And they were just grateful as fuck for that.
Yeah.
Was
I'm fully keen for that.
So that's why you didn't have mental health problems on the same scale as you did today, because everybody was sitting from a place of gratitude. They knew that life was much, much worse. But they had experienced hardship that you and I just cannot comprehend. And when they had a conversation with their parents or somebody older than them about how bad they felt their life was, they got chastised on a level that people just wouldn't do to you and I. Can you imagine saying to your mum and dad, who maybe had lost brothers or sisters in the war, lost their parents, oh yeah, do you know, so-and-so said something to me today and I'm really offended by it? They would be furious.
No,
How dare you?
What I will say is, like, we can't help that. And that is not, you know, I hate talking about, like, war and stuff because it's all a load of shit, yeah? It's power, yeah? Let's be real about it, yeah? 1/3 of people didn't come home, yeah?
Yeah.
And
So,
really,
but that's why by today's comparison, they never had this. They had mental health.
All these self-inflicted social media bullshit projects to get a bit of money don't help. And
I'm not saying they do help.
Get a job in a cleaners or going to work in a care home, sit for 2 8-hour shifts a week.
But it comes back to
make you appreciate like your life at home more. Sitting at home, making what you think is easy money, but is actually just demoralizing you, and your actual self-worth and your self-value is just decreasing.
But you're judging those people by the ones you know. Not every OnlyFans stripper feels demoralized.
I'm not just OnlyFans. I'm on about just anyone doing anything to just try and make a quick buck. I didn't come into music to make money, did I?
No, but this comes back to that thing, isn't it? People will spend £1,500 on a new iPhone, but they won't spend £1,500 doing a course they really would like to do because they want to show off a £1,500 iPhone instead.
I just get and like with what I do with regards to music, I just get like really. It makes me angry when like I seen.
Do you get angry? Do you know? I never got that from the podcast.
I think someone posted the other day saying that happy birthday to this person. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be an artist right now. And what they meant by that is they didn't mean like that person was like they looked up to them. It was like they meant that their friend had become successful in music, and because they had become successful in music, they were able to give him a little bring in and push him, you know, up the queue a few places, and then he was, you know, in with the cool kids earning money that he didn't deserve to earn. And I just feel that like the journey it's all about the journey, because then when you get to the end goal, it means so much more. And people are trying to cut corners and get to the end before you can even get to the end, because it's just near impossible to.
It's not.
overnight.
But the truth that you're telling is for you. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody else. Not everybody else shares that view.
No, and I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not going to sit here and say, but fair play because they make money, because money doesn't mean a lot to me.
No,
like it don't really. Like, if I'm being honest, like if you earn more money, you spend more money. You know, you live to your needs. Like,
I disagree.
I know people who earn $4,000 a month, but 3.5 of it's gone before the month's even started.
But I'm going to quote you because I know you used to save a hell of a lot more money. Do you know what I mean? Because you are one of the few people that I know that genuinely lives well below his means.
Well,
So
yeah, that's why I'm doing my little retail therapy today.
But do you see what I mean? But the thing I'm pointing out is what you just said isn't correct, because you said people don't live within their means. You know, if they but you yourself are an example of someone that's never done that.
No.
And you are actually someone that's pulled me up for spending too much money all the time.
Yeah, but I feel if you work hard, which I know you do, then you know you have.
But you've still pulled me up and saying, no, mate, you're spending too much money all the time. You have.
Yeah, I just feel that people are in whatever they're in for the wrong reasons, and like money helps. Don't get me wrong, yeah, like money is great, yeah, but I don't get that, like, oh my God, I don't get that thrill from money. I don't.
No, but
I'm really glad that I was brought up with, you know.
But you in some respects, you're a complicated, angry person, right? Because, and you and I,
and
yeah, no, but you are
misunderstood.
No, I don't think you are misunderstood. Not in that sense. I think
the amount of people come up to me and say that they thought or they heard this, and now that they've met me and made their own opinion, they.
But you and I have discussed this before, though. It's like one of the hardest things about writing those lyrics is you have to be honest about them, and that means sometimes entering an area where there's a whole.
So we're not even going to get into that one, but yeah, like, you
know. But what I mean is, but sometimes you have to enter like a real, like, dark rabbit hole of insecurities to put lyrics down and then put them down and then say them. You know, you and I have talked about this with my writing. You and I have talked about this with my videos. Is even starting the podcast there's a hell of a lot of insecurity I had to get over that was inward, just me, you know, like, and that's where this kind of passion, this complication comes in that people don't always understand when you're talking is no, you don't understand. There's all these things going on in the head because I look at the world and observe them and observe what's going on, and you observe different injustices, and you're always trying to weigh up, well, if that's fair, why is that not fair? And if you're doing that, why is somebody else not doing that? And like this one, the one that you're passionate about at the moment is talent versus the money, talent versus who you actually are pretending to be. And from your perspective, it's an injustice within your industry that there's people who are more talented not getting the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that I am one of them.
No, but you haven't said that. You haven't said that. That's not what you've said, right? No, but you haven't said that. But it's that passion that gets lyrics down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's you
channeling that energy in the right way. Turning a negative into a positive.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, for anyone who's made it this far,
well done.
Well done from the start, yeah. Look, listen, like, there's a lot going on at the moment in the world, and I'm not trying to, you know, not being able to go out and do what I want, you know, do my music, have my release, has been really, really hard. But it's just been something that I've had to learn to live with. And, you know, I said this a few times in the video I posted the other day. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow, like, the amount of days I feel like absolutely worthless, and then I wake up the next day and I feel the complete opposite. It's weird. It's like,
Yeah, but
um,
I mean, this is a very
times are hard, people. You know,
yeah,
times
yeah,
are hard.
yeah. Look,
I don't want anyone to come in here and think that I'm being, arrogant about that. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of it is like self-inflicted, and a lot of the way you can get out of it is by helping yourself.
it is, but I think if I may just add something to that is the place that this is coming from is that you and I recognize that we've had this has been tough for everybody. But you and I, through our own ways, our own means, conversations we've had with each other, things like that, have found ways to help us through dark days, to get
Yeah,
overcome certain things. And we both recognize that we've been lucky with that, and we count those blessings.
yeah,
But
definitely.
but also there's a loneliness in our hearts because we see people out there struggling who don't have the same support network as you and I do, and we then hear stories about people who don't make it because they've had a rough day, and it was just one
Yeah,
rough day too many. It was
yeah.
too many dark days, and one day they decided, do you know what, I don't need to be here anymore. Because
This isn't
that
worth it.
this is the thing that people don't
Yeah,
understand or don't get, is somebody is waking up today and they are thinking the world is a better place if I'm not in it. And you and I are saying, look, the problem is tomorrow our hearts are breaking for you because we didn't realize you were feeling like that.
but in the same breath, I'm thinking those thoughts, Dave. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you,
I
mate.
know you
Like,
are, but
I'm thinking,
you and
what I
I,
mean?
you and I are finding ways to get above that. But it
Yeah,
doesn't mean we don't have those days,
yeah, yeah, certainly,
you know.
certainly.
And that's what
You
we're trying to explain to people is in those dark rooms, in those dark places when there's no lights on and you don't think there's anybody out there, you're not alone. Nobody is telling you that, hey, guess what, I'm having shit times, and some days I don't want there to be another day. But somehow, because of the people that love me, because of some of my friends, I managed to get another day going. And sometimes I shit myself because I'm going to wake up in the morning
yeah,
because I don't want to wake up, but I do. And all we're saying is, if you're listening to this because you have got this far, is please don't break our hearts tomorrow because today was tough. Just try one more day.
it's really
Try,
not worth it, people. It's really not worth the
yeah.
pain you put your families through.
But
And
but they won't. That's not their perspective. It's the pain they're going through.
yeah, but that pain is not worth. It's not worth. Yeah, you need to control that, and you need to understand that
But
it's always going to be there.
but when you're that wounded and you're that hurting and you don't see,
You have
but
to.
but we're trying to reach out to those people that feel they can't be healed right now. Right? Is
Yeah,
the healing comes with a lot of courage, which you don't feel that you have. That the healing comes with strength that you don't believe you have, and the
mm,
feeling comes from faith that you don't feel you have. And when you feel like you don't have any of those, it's very difficult to see a reason to wake up tomorrow. And what you and I are trying to explain to people is that you and I have felt those times, and they're a lot closer to us, and those days are a lot nearer to us than people imagine. There aren't that
mm,
many sunrises and sunsets between the last time we fought like that.
no,
But we've learned routines, rituals. We found inner circles with friends that we can reach out to. We
yeah,
notice when we start falling into those pits of despair, we found the little ladders that help us climb out. But it took a lot of research. It took a lot of, you know, bad, dark
Fi-
days.
finding those things that make you tick. I
Yeah.
mentioned in my video, um, about reminiscing.
Yeah.
And like, you gotta be happy that it happened. Don't be sad that it's over.
Yeah.
Another bit of cliche, but look at what you have achieved. Look at what you can continue to achieve.
That's it. And that's probably wrapping it up, because you need to go shopping. Is
Yeah, I'm getting the looks from the missus now. But look, listen, guys.
That's
Both of us are here. Like for any of you to reach out. Honestly,
yeah. I mean,
really are. Yeah,
you know,
like,
you
we thrive off of helping people.
yeah. So, and you'll look, you I'll do it now. Like Next Level Coach. There's thousands. There's literally 1,200 videos, because I talk every day.
You're gonna go on that page and tell me that one of those videos doesn't
Work
relate
it.
to you.
No. Right. Anyway, go and buy yourself a nice new dress, and
Summer dress at the ready.
well, festivals are coming. You need to look pretty and at your best.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's a good place to stop, mate. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great day.
Well, you have a good day as well, Dave. Take care, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
See you later. Bye. So there you have it. Me and Brooksie going at each other. But I hope somewhere in there that there was a message that some people could take on. But look, please, if you are struggling, check out people like Caroline Kavanagh, just carolinecavanagh.co.uk, or check out myself, David Watson, Next Level Coach, on Instagram and TikTok. And if you need something, maybe just reach out. Maybe one of us could help you.